Bright Idea produces reading lamps. We have data here, beginning WIP, transfers to finished goods, and ending WIP for June and July. Additionally, the problem says in June, the lamps in beginning work in process were approximately 80% complete, while those in ending work in process were 25% complete. In July, the units remaining in ending work in process at the end of the month were 60% complete. All lamps in ending work in process each month are finished in the following month. And we want to then calculate equivalent units of production for both June and July. All right, so let's start here with June. So we have 500 units that are in beginning work in process, but the problem says that they are 80% complete. That 80% isn't June work, right? That's from the previous month. And so we don't really care about the 80%. We want to multiply that 500 units times the work that was done in June, which will be the remaining 20%. So that gives me 100 equivalent units. Then we need to calculate those started and completed in June. So we have 6,000 units that were transferred to finished goods, but 500 of those were in process at the beginning of the month. So that gives me 5,500 that were started and completed. And then at the end of the month, we have 300 units, but those 300 units were only 25% completed during the month. Oops, that needs to be a 2.5. There we go. Because the remaining 75% was done in July, which we're going to come back to in just a second. So 25% of 300 is 75. So we just need to add these up, and that will give me total equivalent units for the month. So I think that's going to be 5,670 equivalent units for June. So then for July, we started the month with 300 units in work in process. You may notice that this number is the same as that number, and that is not by chance, right? Your ending work in process for June will be the beginning work in process for July. And in similar fashion, this 25% that was completed in June, which we used here, right, means that 0.75 is what we need for July, right? If 25% of the work was done here in June, then the remaining 75% of those same units was completed in July. So 75% of the 300 is 225. Then it's going to calculate started and completed in July. We'll take the 5,000 units that were transferred to finished goods and subtract out the 300 units that were in WIP at the beginning of the month. So that's going to give me 4,700 units. And my ending work in process, 100 units. And the problem says in July, the units remaining in work in process were 60% complete. So times 0.6 will give me 60 units. And so once again, we just need to add all of these up. Let's put my calculator so I don't screw it up. 225 plus 4,700 plus 60 units gives me 4,985 units. And this is equivalent units for July.